Sana for coming in so early. We also apologize that we are starting a bit late. I know the invite had indicated that we will start at 8, and it's already past 9:30. So we beg to settle down and begin. So this is how we will start our event. We will have both the Kenyan National Anthem and the East African one played. Na ningeomba sote tusimame for the National Anthem. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now I'll ask Joy to help me take the mic round. We will have a round of introduction. You'll just tell us your name and the organization or institution you represent. So we will start with this table, tujitambulishe, so that we know each other. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Owiti from Interpol.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lawrence Murithi from IAPCO Counterterrorism Center.
Good morning. I'm James Kinywa from Transparency International Kenya.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gatiriam Boroki from IAPCO Counterterrorism Center of Excellence.
Good morning. My name is Irene Boke. I work at JZ.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I work with Article 19.
Morning. I'm Catherine Bui from Article 19.
Good morning, everyone. Sylvia Katua, Siasa Place.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abdurrahman. I'm from the London Stock Exchange Group.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mariah. I work for Madasi.
Good morning. Masi Wangoi from Kreko, Kenya.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fred Nasubo from National Crime Research Center.
Good morning, everybody. Faith Kisinga Gitonga
ICNL, International Center for Not-for-Profit Law.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gloria, and I work with the Defenders Coalition.
Good morning. My name is Eric. I'm from Due Diligence Advisory.
Good morning. I'm Lily, independent consultant.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah from Islamic Relief Kenya.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Victor from Global Center on Cooperative Security.
Good morning. I'm Jacob Ngome from the Kenya Devolution CSO Working Group. Thank you.
Morning once again. Mary Motuko from PEN and CFF. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Frederick Njeri from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Oma, and I work for the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies.
Good morning, everyone. I'm John Mundia, working with the Thomson Reuters Foundation.
Morning, everyone. I'm Jane Zomo with Thomson Reuters Foundation. Thanks.
Suba Churchill, Kenya National Civil Society Center.
Oliver Waindi from Uraia.
Good morning. My name is Bernadette Nzomo from PBO Regulatory Authority.
Good morning. My name is Walid Kasim from Muslims for Human Rights, Buhuri.
And finally, Karanja Muraya, South Kenya East Africa Center. Not finally.
Good morning. My name is Janet Malonzia from Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies.
And finally, Joy Christine from the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies. We have another finally.
Good morning. Ngumi Wangombe from Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies. Thank you.
Joy, we are done. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana for the introduction. So we will go straight to the welcoming remarks, and I want to welcome Walid Kasim, Idi Muhuri, to give us the welcoming remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Good morning, everyone. I think I'll bank on any existing protocols that are here. So, good morning once again. Tumekunywa chai jamani. I'll keep it short. Nairobi yenu kidogo ni baridi, so you'll bear with me. I'd love to welcome all of you. Indeed, today we are here for an important function. We are launching the strategy. We've come a long way, and I must say that this is not only a document, it's actually a shared vision amongst all of us. It's a commitment to action that we are going to be able to work on. I must also appreciate all of us. I know it has been a process with deep collaboration. We've been able to engage, we've been able to offer our views, able to offer our support, and on behalf of the Kenya NPO Working Group on FATF, nasema asante for that. Lastly, I know Brian and team will brief or will do an extensive breakdown of why we are here and what covers. But I know that this strategy, it's a 3-year strategy, that is based on basically 4 aspects, and that is advocacy, awareness, financial inclusion, as well as research. I think that's basically analyzes all of us in here. So mine is to assure you that you are in the right room, and that this has come at a very critical moment, a moment when Kenya is blacklisted, a moment when grey-listed, sorry, I know there is correction. Kenya is grey-listed, a moment when our financial institutions are put on a high alert, a moment when our laws are questioned. I know you had the president saying even our money laundering bill was bribed to be passed through. So it calls for us to remain on alert, to remain active, and to work together. Lastly, I call upon for our continuous collaboration. We appreciate the journey that we've come from. For some of us, it's been a 10-year journey. For some of us, it's a crucial journey and one that needs all hands together. Kule kwetu kwa Waswahili huwa wanasema kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa. Sijui kama bado tunakumbuka hiyo Kiswahili bado methali. So yeah. So what we are saying is kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa. Na mkono mmoja upigi kofi. Kwa hivyo let's work together. Let's make this work. Let's work on this plan, and let's make sure that we achieve a vibrant, safe, and sustainable civil society for our country. Thank you. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Tupige makofi tena kidogo. Thank you. Thank you. So at this juncture, I will now welcome Irene Boke, represents the development partners, and GIZ have been also very critical or instrumental in supporting some of the MLCFT work. Karibu.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, my name is Irene Boke. I work at GIZ. I would like to take this opportunity to really thank you all for joining this critical moment. Most importantly, please allow me to thank the NPO working group led by Muhuri, Preet, and Article 19. I think you're doing a very, very great job. In a time where a lot is happening in the country, as DG has said, we are grey-listed. A lot of international communities watching on Kenya, what we are doing, how we are doing it, how effective our work is. And I think that is the most important to see that civil society actually rising in the moment to support the country and a lot of other initiatives. So I'd like to congratulate you on this milestone. I would like to particularly congratulate you for foreseeing a working group that will support NPO work on the Financial Action Task Force. It is not a very easy area to interact with. It's sometimes very technical to even get government support. And I'm glad to see that there's at least some government representation in this room, meaning that there's possibly support, and we hope to count on that. I think Bernadette has just walked away, but I wanted to put her on the spot. Oh, she's here. We can count on your support. We can count on your support and hope that jointly we are going to hold hands and work together in streamlining our anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism financing framework as a country, and that we are going to shine the spot on what, or a good example of how the NPO working group has come together to put this together. So I'd like to congratulate you for your launch, and let it not just be a launch, but also implementation thereof. Let us all work together. GIZ will be happy to work with you this journey, to support you however we can. Asante sana and all the best.
Thank you very much. Tumpigie makofi tena. Thank you, Irene, for coming and also for agreeing to give us some remarks. I will now welcome a representative from the civil society sector and a person who have been very instrumental in the AML CFT conversation in Kenya, and also the development of this strategy, and also has been in the sector, I will say, for quite some time, actually a very long time. and also has a better history of the sector up to now. So I'll welcome Suba Churchill to come and give us remarks on behalf of the civil society sector. Suba represents the Kenya National Civil Society Center. Suba, tumpigie makofi as he is walking towards here.
Thank you very much, and good morning once more, everyone. I think for me, of course, Okado did not disclose that he ambushed me a few minutes earlier to make these remarks. But being foot soldiers will definitely have something to say. But for me and particularly Okado and others that have been part of this process, I think this launch marks a very critical milestone in a process that began with awareness raising way back from 2019, picking it up from when government started harassing civil society, particularly Haki Africa and Muri at the coast, and confiscating the equipment and so on and so forth. And of course, fabricating charges and freezing bank accounts and everything else, and leaving them at the mercy of fate. And so we started off with a process that was in many ways quite informal, raising a little money from colleagues abroad, and mainly Fund for Global Human Rights, ICNL and others, just to be able to raise awareness about this process. And so I'm glad that today we are able to sit together and launch what can serve as a strategy for the next couple of years. And so for me, this launch emphasizes the vital role that, you know, the core freedoms of expression, assembly, and association, without which civil society cannot exist, or any organization for that matter, plays in Kenya's emerging democracy and our continued quest for good governance. It will be critical moving forward, even after the launch, because the launch is not an end in itself, but a beginning of a greater end that we hope to achieve, which is securing an enabling environment for non-staters across the country and the region, because quite often, even when we do things for ourselves as Kenyan CSOs, we have our neighbors who quite often are envious of us because they think that despite our challenges here, we are still by far better off. And so we look forward to applying this strategy in safeguarding human rights, protecting human rights defenders, and independent media, because increasingly we have witnessed, up to as recently as yesterday, media being attacked. And we have seen over the years media being attacked not just by state actors but even non-state actors. And the continued impunity means that there is lack of accountability for those who consciously and intentionally target and attack the media. And so moving forward, we want to see and hope that this launch will help us to harness international cooperation, inclusive participation, in keeping with the UN, the SDG goal of leaving no one behind, so that those who operate at the grassroots and whose freedoms are affected by junior officers as chiefs, you know. There's a time we did a great work with Faith Kisinga, whom I saw here, in partnership with Oxfam. And we realized how at the informal settlements, chiefs determine and solicit actively bribes to allow people even to meet. At that time, we were trying to help Oxfam consolidate and create a national federation of organizations for domestic workers. That Mama Fua who sits at the gates of fairly affluent neighborhoods waiting to be invited to do domestic cleaning, wash clothes. We wanted a situation where they were aware of their rights and therefore form associations that would then segregate together to become a federation. And that is how we realized that apart from the noise that we make from such hotels, there are people down there who really suffer and have to bribe local chiefs, the Nyumba Kumi, to exercise these rights that we at times take for granted. So as I conclude, it is my hope and indeed excitement that this launch will give us a framework that has been fairly thought through a fairly consultative process to culminate in the occasion of this particular launch, and that it will set the pace for greater protection and promotion of civic space rights and freedom, fundamental freedoms that we hold dear. Thank you very much, and I'm glad to see people in this room who are part of the strategic planning sessions themselves, the validations and the follow-up activities, and it is our hope that your participation in this launch will not be your last engagement, because this strategy should not be left, in my view, to the small and skeletal secretariat that we have established. It is too much for them. And so if colleagues and partners would come forth and help and to support, including with resources, both financial and human, it will be a great success for each one of us and all of us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Suba Churchill. Tupigie makofi tena. Okay, I now want to welcome Victor Kipkoech. Victor is from the Global Center on Cooperative Security, and the Global Center played a very critical role in conducting the national risk assessment that took place in 2024. So Victor will also speak about the highlights of the process and some of the recommendations that were highlighted in the report, and what are some of the things that the National Working Group can do to address some of the issues that were raised in the report. Thank you. Karibu, Victor.
Good morning, everyone. I see very many familiar faces in the room. My name is Victor Kipkoech, and I work for the Global Center on Cooperative Security. We are an international NGO based out of New York, but we work across many of our countries here in East and Southern Africa, as well as in West Africa. And similar to Suba, Fred has failed to mention that he ambushed me to talk about the process this morning. So I've quickly just written down some of the things we did during the national risk assessment. So I've been told to talk about the process, how the process went, and what were the recommendations out of the national risk assessment. So we started working on the national risk assessment in partnership with the NGO board at that time. So this now called the PBO Authority, and we also had members of the civil society in the country, led by Muhuri, as well as the Kenya National Civil Society Center. So we worked with government as well as civil society. All of them were represented through the process. And then the risk assessment itself had 2 stages, or rather 2 phases. So the first phase, between around 2022 to 2023, we looked at inherent risks in the sector. So what does that mean? So what we did was the NPO representatives in the working group, which was Muhuri and Suba's organization, reached out to other NPOs with a questionnaire. So we asked the NPOs, what are, do you understand the risks? What are the risks that you see? All those things. So essentially the first part was just to identify the risks. So we just need to learn first what the risks were before we proceeded. And then after the first phase was done, we looked at, we went to the second phase. So the second phase was around 2023 through to 2024. And this second phase looked at, we reviewed measures, mitigating measures for the risks that had been identified. So what are the current existing mitigating measures within the NPOs and also by government that are currently in place? And through the process, or rather in the second phase, what we looked at were three things. So we looked at the laws and regulations in the country as at that time. So in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2024, we looked at the laws and regulations that were in place at that time. We looked at the policy measures plus the outreach. Does government do outreach to NPOs? Do NPOs themselves know what FATF is, what recommendation 8 is, and what immediate outcome 10 is? So all those things we looked at in the second phase. And the last thing that we looked at in the second phase was also self-regulatory measures and self-governance measures for NPOs. So we understand that there are many NPOs that work in different sectors in the country. And there are many of them that do self-regulation. So they looked at their own regulatory process, or rather the process that, say, for example, they disburse funds. And those are the things, we would look at those ones and identify, we put them in the report that, you know, this is good measure, this is good practice for other NPOs to identify. The other thing that I've forgotten to mention was, so when we're doing the FATF recommendation 8 risk assessment, we do not look at all the NPOs in the country. It is because FATF does, there are a few subsect of NPOs that are called FATF NPOs. And those are the only ones that we're interested in. And FATF NPOs, the key thing that you need to, for you to identify a FATF NPO is whether an NPO raises funds or uses those funds and shares it with the community somehow. So if they raise and disburse those funds, that would be a FATF NPO. And those are the ones that we were looking at. So we do not look at all around 10,000 or so NPOs in the country. We just looked at a small subset of NPOs. So the recommendations that came out of this report, or rather what we would look at was mentors in place. Are they targeted? Are they proportional? Are they based on risks that have been identified? So are they risk-based? And also the measure should be non-disruptive and also if they're effective. So if they contribute on IO10, so what is the effectiveness level of these measures that are available? So through this process, through 2023 all the way to 2024, some of the recommendations that I would say are specific to NPOs in the country would include, so we noted that we needed more capacity building and training awareness for NPOs to learn about FATF, to learn about Recommendation 8, and I think this is part of that initiative. So for our NPOs, our local NPOs, to learn about Recommendation 8, to learn about AML CFT, that was one of the recommendations. The other thing was we recommended that government needs to clarify who an NPO is and what is an NPO in the country. So what constitutes as an NPO in Kenya? The other two recommendations that I think just at the top of my head, because I didn't prepare a presentation, but the other key recommendation that I can remember was high-risk NPOs. We encourage that those NPOs that are high risks should be encouraged and supported to establish risk or proportionate risk mitigation measures. And secondly, we also had NPOs and government agencies should work to exchange information and also be informed on potential threats and concerns. So just those are the things at the top of my head that I could remember. If I had a few more minutes, I'll probably had a better presentation than this, but those are the highlights of the report and the report process itself. But in case of anything, in case of, if you want to look through the report, if you just Google online Kenya NPO report, I'm sure there is probably a version of it somewhere. Or you can talk to Bernadette here at the PB Authority for a public version of that report. And I think with those very few remarks, let me hand back the mic. And if you have any questions, I'll be right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. To pigie Victor makofi. Yes, thank you. I've been also reminded that we have colleagues of ours from across the world and East African as well, some of our partners. This Civic Advisory Hub has joined us online on YouTube, and I want to acknowledge them. The Fund for Global Human Rights, particularly James Savage, has also joined, and he's following the conversation on YouTube. And we also have colleagues from Botswana, South Africa, and many other countries who have joined, and they are also following the conversation. So hatuko peke yetu, tuko na watu wengine pia who are following the conversation across the continent. I now want to welcome Faith Kisinga. Faith is also representing the development partners, and her organization has also been very instrumental in supporting a lot of work around AML CFT. ICNL supports Muhuri in a lot of its work around this conversation, but also some of the work that we've been doing with the working group has also been largely supported by ICNL. Karibu, Faith.
Thank you very much, Fred. I've been thrown onto the ambush train. So, but I'm glad to be here. Really, I was really happy to have been even associated with such a great initiative. The work that all the different actors who are involved in this have done is absolutely amazing. And for me, it's just the whole story, the turnaround from a situation that was so critical and frustrating for our friends Muhuri, and their resolve that nobody else would have to go through that same kind of experience, and then of course reaching out to other partners to see how that they can ensure that moving forward that would never have to happen again. So I just celebrate that today, and it's part of the reason I'm here, to see the many actors in the room. I mean, whether from the non-profit sector and even from government, all eager and keen to see how we can all work together to ensure that we have a safe legal space in which, civic freedoms can be protected. And that is part of what ICNL does with partners around the world, and really looks to see how they can support the different actors in being able to engage in that objective. So ICNL has also been at the forefront of coming up with resources around, best practices for the implementation of laws touching on civil society that have to do with FATF. They have also created toolkits that can be used both by government and by non-profit organizations in this endeavor. But they've also looked out to see, the different local organizations who are keen on engaging towards ensuring that the laws and the policies that are being developed are being done in a way that respects and protects civic space. So we are happy to be part of this conversation, and we're really looking forward to see how we can continue on this journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Faith. Tumpigie makofi tena. Thank you. I also want to welcome Gal Levin. Gal represents the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, and she's one of the people we approached for recommendations and views on our strategy, and she also gave very critical feedback about the recommendation. So FCDO also, we regard it as a contribution to the strategy. Thank you and welcome. Tupige makofi as she's working here.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for the very kind invitation. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Gal Levin. I'm the Countering Illicit Finance Advisor at the British High Commission here in Nairobi. And I'm really delighted to be here today. This topic is really one that's key and that affects us all. Some of you may know that our Foreign Secretary in the UK launched a campaign last year to tackle illicit finance, both at home and abroad. So for us, this is a real priority. And so we're delighted to be here to learn about the issues and to engage with you to see how we can best support and work together. So I'm looking forward to working together. I just wanted to say big congratulations on the strategy. And thank you for having me. I think that's that.
Thank you. A hand, please. That was so precise, and I was just preparing myself to do something else there, and I realized you finished. But thank you very much for coming. Thank you for the remarks and the support. Asante sana. I want now to welcome Gatwira Mboroki from IAPCO to give us her remarks. Karibu sana. Tumpigie makofi as she's walking here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning again. You are not happy. You have not taken breakfast, and the way it's a lot outside. Okay, as you have heard, my name is Gatwira Mboroki. I come from the East African Police Chiefs. I'm a police officer in the desk of the counterterrorism, where we cover 14 countries within the East African region. So our center is located at the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, DCI, Kiambu Road. Okay, with those remarks, introductory remarks, also I was ambushed, but I'm going to say something. The last time I take this opportunity for the Maori to invite us again. They had invited us and they came to our office so that we can restart the wheel together. In that the civil society and the police, they have to work together. There's no way the police are going to say they will work alone without the civil society. Especially in our desk on counterterrorism. We are dealing with the terrorism, radicalization. And when you look here down, we are talking about counter-terror financing. When you are talking about counter-terror financing, that is one of the major problems right now within the East African region. The way the finances are moving, the way the finances are being taken and supporting the terrorist group within the East African region, and also doing with the radicalization to the people who are joining different terror groups. And as a result of this, we feel very much honored to be part of this group, the working group, because this is an important area for all of us within the East African region. And we as the Counterterrorism Center, we cannot fight it alone without the civil society. Because the civil society, they are the ones who interact more with the people. They are the civil society, the members in the public there, who are dealing with the M-Pesa and the Ahwal. And these the M-Pesa people, business people, they don't know even the person who is coming to withdraw the money. The person just withdraws the money or comes to you and tells you that transfer this money of mine to so and so. You don't ask for their ID. That's why we come very strongly to say that KYC, that is, know your customer. That is the slogan which you give to the financial units. As you know very well, the financial units in the country, there are very many. We have so many financial institutions, but their capability of investigating what is transpiring within the accounts from one account to the other, the money which is being wired from the accounts, the money which is coming from outside. Some of them, they don't have the capability, even they are not ready to ask a question, where is this money coming from? And this money is going to who? You know very well the technology has made things easy. I just go open an account, I go to the Facebook, and I'm able to get money from my friends who are supporting me with whatever I'm doing. And I'll get money. But most of the financial institutions, they don't ask, they don't query. Even there are some people I know here, your money has been transferred, somebody calls you and tells you, I work from this bank or with this institution. Please, I want to, we are giving you a new card. Your card has been expired, or our system, we are improving the system. Please, can you give us your ID number and your phone? And all of a sudden, your money is gone from the account. So those are some of the measures which we are supposed to take as now we engage with the civil society, because we know the civil society, they are more closer to the community. And they are the ones who are able to drive this wheel. In our center, we do a lot with research, which is more evidence-based. And the MHOR came to our office, and we assisted them. And even right now, we are going to work with them so that we can do the researches which they want to do in future, because whatever we do is research-based. It has evidence, it has recommendations. If you go to our website, you are able to see all the research which has been done with the center. So with those many remarks, that is where we come from. We are police officers, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to work with you so that we can make our country better and more the East African region. Because if Tanzania is not safe, even as Kenya, we are not safe. If Kenya is safe and Tanzania is safe, whatever is happening in the DRC Congo, we are not aware about it. We are not aware what our children are engaging in. During the time they are in holidays, they are all over in their phones, but you just keep quiet, they don't talk to you. Please, can you ask that child, what are you doing? What are you doing at this particular moment? At night, what are you doing? Who are you engaging with? Because we are saying so much, there is a lot of poverty. Poverty in the country, which is ready to many people to do some dubious, to join terrorists, to join the transnational crime, to commit transnational crime, which are happening across the region within the East African region. So those are some of the issues which we should look into, and we know your partner and know your neighbor. Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you as a center with my officers, and we are very much grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tumpigie tena makofi. Thank you, Gatwira. I now want to welcome Mark Owiti from Interpol to also give us his remarks. Karibu sana. Tupige makofi.
Good morning again. My name is Mark Owiti from Interpol. I've also been ambushed, like some of us. Yes. So for maybe brief introduction of what Interpol does, is the headquarters in France, and we have got regional offices in most of the regions. Like here in Africa, we have got 4 regional offices, one based in Nairobi, covering 14 countries. And we have another one in the Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe, another one in Cameroon, and one in Cote d'Ivoire. So the main vision of Interpol is just to connect the police around the world, just to make our world a safer place. And basically work on 4 thematic areas, where one is counterterrorism, the other one is cybercrime, organized crime, and financial crime and anti-corruption. So, and I think we are basically here revolving around the issues of financial crime and anti-corruption issues. Also for us here in the Interpol Regional Bureau for Nairobi, we also act as the secretariat for the IAPCO, the police chiefs in the region. So we also sometimes also help in the issues to do with capacity development. So even in these issues of FATF recommendation, even law enforcement officers, they have got also their challenges and their areas that they need to air. Basically, I think it's recommendation 30 and 31, where also the law enforcement also have got issues they need to address. And recently I was having a conversation with a colleague from Nigeria, and she was really happy that they're almost getting out of the grey list and they are going to be out of the grey list area. And she was really very, very happy about it. And Kenyans were still stuck in it. I know we are almost getting out of it and soon we'll be out of it. And Kenya as a region, at least we are disadvantaged because of maybe our position to come with the issues of terrorism financing. Our position is also affecting us. And issue the development of technologies also, because we have learned that apart from the traditional terror financing method, the issue of technology is also another thing that is also bringing another challenge for us in the region. And for us, like in the law enforcement, where we enforce this recommendation and the rules, we also need to be informed and we act from a very informed perspective, even when we're enforcing this law. And for this kind of forum, we really appreciate it when law enforcement officers are also involved to also understand the processes and the challenges. You know, it's just like the current activity we're having, like these sports, the CHAN, where we have the officiating team and the participants. But when you understand the rules of everything, it's become better when you walk in the same direction. Okay, with that Interpol also we have got some tools that we help in fighting this mostly transnational organized crime. Mostly in the financial area we have got, we have databases, we have got systems. Like now we are developing a tool called Silver Notice. It's on a pilot stage, where if there is any illegal transfer of goods or finances from one country to another country, there can be a coordination through the police channels where the items can be confiscated for further analysis. Also, they also support law enforcement officers with some technical investigative tools. With those many remarks, I'll stop it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tumpigie makofi tena. So far, I want to ask a question. Does all the speakers sound like they've been ambushed? I don't think so, yeah? Yes, asanteni sana. So if ambushing is that, then if you prepared, you'll do wonders, Yes, asante sana. I'm also reminded that one person who was also very, very instrumental in development of this document, Mr. Mburu Gitu, has also joined online and he's following. Karibu sana Mburu, kama unatuona. He led us in the process from when we started up to this document being here today. So we really appreciate the services that he gave us. Asante sana. So I want to welcome now the last ambushed speaker to talk to us and say something. This is Fred Nasubo. Fred is from the National Crime Research Center. Karibuni sana, tumpigie makofi. I hope hata sema amekuwa ambushed.
Well, thank you, Fred. I've been ambushed. Like you said, my name is Fred Nasubo. I work with National Crime Research Center. It's a government entity whose main work is to research on crimes in Kenya. We work with other government agencies and departments in criminal justice systems. And basically our research is to inform policy decisions across the criminal justice systems. We work with criminal justice agencies such as the Kenya Police Service, the National Prison Service, the Office of the Attorney General. We work with Directorate of Criminal Investigations. We work with Directorate of Children's Services, among other criminal justice entities in government. So we've done a number of researches, and we continue to do research across criminology and criminal justice. Some of our research include works on human trafficking, child trafficking, the involvement of women in terrorism, the organized crimes, any research around crimes in Kenya. And I think that the launch of this particular report is very timely, and it's coming at a very critical moment for our country, when we are talking about the evolution of crimes across issues related to illicit flows of finances, across issues related to technology, issues related to organized crimes. And I believe that it presents us with an opportunity, not just those who are in government, but also in the civil society organizations, to sit down and rethink of better ways to deal with these particular issues that is at hand. And reflecting on the 3-year strategy key points, such as the advocacy, awareness, financial inclusion, and research, we may find a niche to collaborate, especially in the area of research, to better improve the policy areas across the issue of illicit financial flows. So I'm looking forward to learning about the key recommendations and to engaging all of us on how to improve in this particular matter. Once again, I want to congratulate the team that has been involved in preparing this particular report that is going to be shared with us, and all of us for coming to listen and to contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give him a clap again. So I now want to welcome Brian. Brian and team from CRIBS and team from the Kenya National Working Group on FATF has worked tirelessly in developing this this strategy. We've come a long way to ensure that we capture every detail, every issue that needs to be captured in the strategy. And what Kimari will do is just to give us a highlight of the report, but also give us the journey from when we began up to where we are today. So, Karibu Kimari, and let's clap for Kimari as he walks here.
Thank you, Fred. Good morning, everyone. Good. Thank you. It's great to have you all here. My name is Kimari Brian. I'm the one who did the ambushing. So you have me to thank for the great speakers that we managed to hear from this morning. Fred is absolutely right that if we had given you more time to prepare, then this would have been a lecture. So I really appreciate your comments. They were quite comprehensive and really shows the commitment that we need from each sector to address the issues that we're facing. I haven't introduced myself properly. I work with the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies, and we also formed the Secretariat for the Kenya NPO Working Group on the Financial Action Task Force. My colleague, Joy Christine, is with me here, and other colleagues from CRIBS are also in the room. It's a pleasure to have you all here. I'll just talk a little bit about the journey that we've embarked on, largely focusing on the steps we took to create this strategy that we'll be launching today. To begin with, the working group, as Fred mentioned, was formed around 2020 But last year, starting from 2024, we embarked on a process to reconstitute the working group, refresh, and really try to embark on a more strategic process to meet our goals. And so we began doing this by having more frequent collaborations through the Fund for Global Human Rights and Article 19. We engaged quite a little bit on trying to understand the impact of counterterrorism and countering the financing of terrorism on civic space in Kenya. And in responding to these issues, we then were able to have a more evidence-based approach even as we come up with a strategy. So following that, and with support with ICNL, we began a formal process of strategy development where we first organized a strategy retreat, which many of you here attended. We had this in June in Stony Athi Resort in Machakos. And following this, we had about 25 to 30 participants in the room who helped come up with a strategy and help us think about how to work more strategically to develop our objectives and to also plan what kind of initiatives are more strategic. And following this, we embarked on a validation process where we managed to have 21 meetings with different organizations. Some of this were individual organizations, some of them were in groups, so we held small conferences with different groups. And in total, we had 138 people who gave feedback to the strategy. So the document that you will be launching today is something that has gone through lots of steps in order for it to become agreed upon by all our members. A lot of feedback was given by different partners and we really appreciate it. So this is a consolidated work that really shows the joint ideas that we all have. It was a co-developed document that really speaks to all our goals and also speaks to our missions within your institutions. So that's the process that we went through throughout this whole year, and we finalized the stakeholder validation just about 2 weeks ago. So it's really our pleasure to have you here and to complete this process of the strategy development. So I'll just highlight some of the key parts of this strategy, and I won't go too deep into it since the colleagues who've come before me have already elucidated upon it quite a bit. So to begin with, this strategy matters for a lot of the reasons that the partners here have shared, but also largely we have a unique window of opportunity now to address these challenges, in particular because Kenya stands on the Financial Action Task Force grey list, which means we are a jurisdiction that's under continuous monitoring at the moment. And this calls for numerous things. There's an urgency that it creates for us to develop and strengthen our frameworks to counter terrorism financing and money laundering. But we also have unprecedented opportunities because of the legal and policy reforms that have taken place. Bernadette will speak a lot to this as she speaks to the work that PBORA have been doing. But the operationalization of the PBO Act really presents us the opportunity to increase, to support the framework to regulate non-profit organizations and also to ensure that the measures taken are risk-based. We also have had amendment to other laws, including our money laundering laws, and this calls for a more risk-based approach, in particular on how we work with non-profit organizations. So this is really the moment to try and work together to achieve certain goals within that time. Kenya is going to be in the grey list for quite some time, and in order for us to get off it, we need to have a collaborative arrangement between different institutions, from financial institutions to government agencies, and lastly to non-profit organizations. This is also because one of the reasons that Kenya was grey listed has to do with our underdeveloped framework for regulation and supervision of non-profit organizations. And so the working group has been working very closely with the PBO Regulatory Authority to try and think around the solutions to these issues and to also, to develop an approach or a response that speaks to both the government and to the civil society sector and ensures that the civil society sector is supported. We are happy that the PBORA is committed to working with civil society organizations and particularly towards improving this framework, that they've been putting in a lot of steps and reaching out to civil society in order to try and respond to a lot of these issues. Following that, we also launched you've heard about the risk assessment, as Victor explained. So we participated in that through Muhuri and the Kenya National Civil Society Center. But also in May 19th, 2025, in collaboration with the PBO Regulatory Authority, we launched the Talk to Your Regulator initiative, which is supposed to create structured dialogue between NPOs and their regulators. As you know, different non-profit organizations in Kenya are registered under different regimes, including the Business Registration Service, the Ministry of Lands, Department of Social Services, and PBORA as well. So it's important for us to think about how to engage with these different regulators, just first to protect ourselves as non-profit organizations and to ensure that we are compliant with with the requirements that are set there. As I mentioned, the FATF has put us on the grey list in part because of our failure to have a coordinated regime, and the PBO Act provides room for us to start working on this. And so our strategic objectives for the next while really rely on us picking up the momentum from the fact that we are on the grey list. But beyond that, working directly with PBORA to conduct the risk assessment and to follow up with the recommendations that were given by that risk assessment in order to ensure more targeted outreach, and also to build on the legal amendments that have been made in order to ensure that we remove blanket reporting requirements on non-profit organizations and ensure a more proportionate response to different groups. In addition to that, we'll be expanding our multi-stakeholder collaboration, and through this we'll scale up what I mentioned as our Talk to Your Regulator initiative, making sure we have more sustained conversations and dialogue, particularly to respond to any gaps and deficiencies in our frameworks. We also need to ensure meaningful participation of non-profit organizations, particularly in some of the processes that the government is going to be undertaking, particularly working on risk assessment, developing guidelines to respond to these issues. And this is a lot of what will form the basis of our work for the next 2 years, as well as our work on combating financial exclusion, where we are partnering with different financial institutions, in particular the Kenya Bankers Association, to try and arrest some certain risks and threats that we've seen to non-profit organizations, including bank de-risking, where banks terminate relationships with non-profit organizations rather than manage the risks that they face. So this is going to be a focus with us for quite a while, in addition to working to improve the financial sustainability of the non-profit organization sector and ensure that we are more resilient to the risks that we face as a sector. So how we'll work around this is that, as I mentioned, that we had those strategy retreats. The goal of this was also to try and, beyond establishing what objectives we'll be working towards, really understanding how we'll work and setting the strategy or the pace for how we'll try to achieve these goals. So one of the things we'll do is that we'll have an inclusive membership that really tries to bring on a lot more organizations on board. It's a working group that's quite dedicated to achieving issues within the short term, but we have a lot of organizations that are interested in understanding this, in learning from this, so we are open to non-profit organizations across the board. Beyond that, we have a steering committee that helps to keep us in check. We have members, Muhuri, our organization CRIPS, we have Article 19 East Africa, and our newest additions, Transparency International Kenya and Islamic Relief Kenya. So this is the groups that will be helping provide the strategic direction for the working group as we work to do this. As you can hear from the names, they represent different interests, including humanitarian organizations, advocacy organizations, and think tanks like the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies. Beyond, the Secretariat will also be reporting to this steering committee, including providing financial reports for any work that we'll be undertaking, as well as project implementation. And further than that, we'll be we'll be meeting with different stakeholders. We have a detailed stakeholder engagement plan that you'll see in the document just to be released, but we'll be having targeted engagement with these different groups, trying to rely on their direct priorities and needs as well, and also looking at the priorities that they have as far as the FATF process. So we'll be practically working to engage these different groups and also using our Talk to Your Regulator initiative. And you'll see the details for the Talk to Your Regulator initiative on the pamphlet you have on your desk. And this is really our flagship project that was inspired by our partners in Uganda, the Center, the Civic Advisory Hub, who also are our partners in this initiative. And it's a great initiative that's taken off across the region, having been launched recently in Botswana and Malawi and Zimbabwe as well. So in addition to that, we have a resource mobilization angle. As Suba mentioned, this is really deep work that needs to be done over the course of 2 years, and it's something that needs a variety of resources, particularly the partnerships that we build with you in this room, making sure that we are able to reach our targets to meet our goals, and in particular also looking for the correct funding that we need to achieve some of these goals, particularly on how we'll conduct outreach and how we'll raise capacity of different organizations. So my call to action for civil society is really to participate actively in this working group, join us, learn from us, and also work with us to engage your regulator. For government partners, this is a crucial moment for us to leverage the current momentum from the PBO Act and the risk assessment that was conducted for the NPO sector. It's really important for you to demonstrate your commitment to working with civil society in order to address the deficiencies that we face within the sector regulations and challenges. And for the donor community, please keep engaging us to work towards this development. We are committed to working on different issues, including with government partners. So we need to work more collaboratively, and we need your support to embark on this process and to meet our targets. So in closing, this strategy really positions Kenya as a regional model to embark on deep collaboration and meaningful partnerships in order to improve the deficiencies in our framework, and in so doing, to get off the grey list. This is an important thing for us to do because of the threats that the country faces while we are grey listed. We've seen impact in numerous countries when they're on the grey list, and we need to work together to ensure that this does not affect us in the long term. The track record that we have proves that collaborative engagement works, and together we can support Kenya to exit the FATF grey list while strengthening the civic space that serves communities nationwide. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Let's have a clap for Brian again. Now, I want to now welcome the keynote speaker. She represents the Public Benefit Regulatory Authority, and she will speak to us largely on the PBO Act, maybe, and how they've been involving themselves in some of these AML CFT processes, and what are they planning to do with the PBO sector in Kenya. Welcome, Benedict, and speak to us. Tupigie Benedict makofi.
Thank you, Fred. I think we've been given the disclaimer. The lecture now starts. So my name is Bernadette. I'm representing the Chief Executive Officer, Public Benefits Organization Regulatory Authority, PBORA. He could not make to be with us today, and he sent me to represent him. So I am actually representing the CEO, and then I will just have my remarks after I deliver his remarks. So this is a keynote address by Dr. Lakshmana Kipto, the Director General, Public Benefit Organization Regulatory Authority, during the launch of a Kenya Non-Profit Organization Working Group on FATF, Financial Action Task Force, Strategy 2025-2027. Colleagues from various public entities present, representatives from the civil society organization, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to address this gathering as we launch the Kenya Nonprofit Organization Working Group on the Financial Action Task Force Strategy 25-2027. May I thank Brian Kimari, Fred Okado, and our other partners of the Kenya Nonprofit Organization Working Group for inviting me to participate at this important function. I commend your commitment to promoting risk-based counter-financing of tourism oversight in Kenya non-profit sector. In our role as regulator, PBORA conducts terror financing oversight and monitoring of the non-profit organizations. This requires both technical expertise and collaborative partnership for effectiveness. Kenya's concrete progress on the FATF compliance. As PBORA, we stand at a significant moment. Kenya has made several concrete steps towards addressing the FATF deficiencies and implementing risk-based approach as recommended in the mutual evaluation that was concluded in 2022. These achievements include non-profit organization sectoral TF risk assessment concluded in 2024, the enactment or the operationalization of PBO Acts, which was done in May 2024, establishing a modern risk-focused regulatory framework, preparation of draft PBO regulation now being consolidated after the public participation had been concluded on July 26, 2025, and the amendment of POCAMLA Act 2025, which delisted non-profit organization as reporting entities. That means non-profit organizations are not being monitored for money laundering, but only monitored and oversight for countering financing of terrorism. This marks a new era of comprehensive risk-based regulation that balances oversight with the protection of civic space. Risk assessment findings. The 2024 NPO sector terrorism financing risk assessment conducted with valuable participation with working groups members, that is Muhuri, as you've been mentioned by Victor Kipkoech, the Kenya National Civic Society Center carried out surveys and interviews with the respective non-profits. They provided crucial insight in the sector vulnerability profile, and we had the risk rating. The assessment concluded that TF, that is terrorism financing threat to NPOs, was medium to low. Manageable with appropriate awareness and outreach measures, which goes to our pillar number 2 of awareness creation, and awareness will only work with advocacy and moving on to financial inclusion and equally research. The critical challenge is, as identified, government outreach to the non-profit organization remains insufficient, and government agencies, including the PBORA, lack sufficient resources to effectively conduct outreach to the non-profit organization. The finding that the terrorism financing threat to the non-profit organization was low to medium is encouraging news for the sector. Worth noting, however, is the fact that it has also identified critical area required immediate attention. When you looked into the threats to the Kenya at large and looked into the vulnerability of a sector, we identified some risk factors that needed to be focused and attention on. And number 1 was NPO operating in areas with active terror presence, NPO working with or in places where there may be individuals sympathetic to terrorist causes, non-profit organization engaged in activities bringing them into contact with the terrorism group or supporters, and the first three are interrelated. Number 4 is a non-profit organization with unverified or unverifiable funding sources, NPO with high risk or / foreign funding sources from high risk jurisdiction, NPO without adequate financial controls or ability to verify their activities, NPO with unverified partners, and the risk factor number 8 was the faith-based organization falling under category 1 and 2. Category 1 was the operating near conflict zone and also coming into contact who could be sympathetic to, who could be radicalized. Partnership opportunities to strengthen implementation of risk-based approaches. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 assessment identified capacity consideration across government agencies with CFT mandates. I am of the view that taking collaborative approach is a way too, as it enables 1, a coordinated stakeholder engagement for the comprehensive risk-based frameworks, leveraging sector relationship for enhanced outreach, joint program development addressing both regulatory and sector objectives, efficient resources utilization through coordinated activities. Matters regional evidence for collaborative approaches. As Kenya works towards addressing the identified FATF deficiency into our MLCFT PF regime and moving off the gray list, and technically gray list is now the increased monitoring. We are not in the advanced monitoring for our MLCFT. And the objective of the Financial Action Task Force, it's in a nutshell to make our jurisdiction unattractive for crimes related to ML, PF, and the sanction for PF, proliferation finances, masses of. And so you find the main objective for recommendation 8 for us will be the technical compliance in terms of the law, the structures, the institution, and the intended outcome is to protect the sector from misuse of terrorism financing by the criminals. And the other objective as well is to make sure that we do not have sham non-profit organization. And I remember my colleague from DCI mentioned there is the issue of having crowdfunding, whereby you're opening an account, you go to Facebook and you collect money. Technically, that is somehow the sector is being infiltrated by somebody. I am not a non-profit, but I'm raising money in ways that cannot be verified, and hence I cannot really validate the activities on the ground. The working group has demonstrated exceptional leadership and chosen meaningful collaboration over confrontation to address shared sector challenges. This partnership has yielded measurable results. First, the risk assessment. As working group members led by Muhuri participated in the risk assessment. The joint launch of a Talk to Your Regulator initiative, creating consistent and sustained dialogue between the non-profit organization and the respective regulators. The working group provided oral and written feedback on draft PBO, as Brian had alluded to, strengthening our regulatory framework through sectoral expertise. Input on the working group strategy, ensuring alignment between priorities. And critical alignment, the working group 2-year strategy directly corresponds with the key PBORA priorities and needs identified in both the FATF mutual evaluation for Kenya and the non-profit sector risk assessment. Immediate priorities of the PBORA. Our immediate priorities is 1, regulation. Finalization of PBO regulation, incorporating public consultation feedback, including working group submission. Risk identification, development of specific mechanism to identify non-profit organization potentially at risk of terrorism financing as recommended by the assessment, developing sector-specific indicators in collaboration with civil society and other stakeholders, providing guidance of targeted approaches that are non-disruptive, and also outreach and capacity building, developing a comprehensive, sustained, and targeted program of outreach to mitigate potential terrorism financing risk in the non-profit sector, in consultation with the respective bodies from non-profit sector, the donor community, as well with other government agencies with the mandate of countering financing terrorism. The institutional capacity strengthening pillar, we ensure PBO array, PBO federation, and PBO tribunal have adequate implementation resources. Also learning from successful regional models. We will intend attending the annual for low, medium risk with proper measures, including institutional and self-regulation, strengthen organizational capacities on financial controls and verification system, partner due diligence process, funding source documentation, activity monitoring and reporting. Now to government agencies, for us to be in a position to have stakeholder engagement for gray list or making recommendation 8 compliant, because our business is recommendation 8. The assessment recommends emphasis, sustained comprehensive stakeholder engagement requiring coordinated implementation approach. And then to development partners, the alignment between working group strategy and PBRA regulatory requirement creates synergies for enhanced impact. Assessment finding also indicates that sustained partner engagement through collaborative models enhances implementation effectiveness while maintaining an enabling operational environment. In conclusion, this strategy launch demonstrates our collaborative commitment to protecting security while preserving civic space. Together, we are building regulatory measures and practices that prevent non-profit organization sector from terrorism financing abuse on the identified risk features, enhance international cooperation while respecting national implementation context, maintain operational space for civic society engagement. The evidence is clear. Collaborative approaches accelerate compliance while maintaining operational effectiveness. The working group's strategy demonstrates remarkable alignment with the PBO array regulatory priorities and specific FATF mutual evaluation recommendation for Kenya. The authority looks forward to continued partnership with the Kenya Non-Profit Organization Working Group and all stakeholders present as we implement this ambitious evidence-based strategy. Thank you for your attention and congratulations to this significant milestone. Thank you and God bless you. That is from the CEO, and on my behalf, having worked with the team to come up with a comprehensive sectoral TF risk assessment, the next steps going forward now will be for us to agree, because the 8 risk factors identified may cut across all aspects of a non-profit organization. And if that is what we will go, that it means the entire universe of the non-profit organization will be at risk of TF abuse. So how do we move forward and identify the specific non-profit organization who are at risk of TF abuse or misuse? And I think the next steps going forward is having a review, a domestic review, whereby we will come and sit down and evaluate each risk and say, these will be the risk, the aspect or the features that will predispose a particular non-profit organization for TF abuse. And hence, now we need now to say we will have an increased monitoring on the same. And I think it has to be a collaborative where the civil society is represented, the donor community is represented, and the government stakeholders matter CFT is represented. And I usually say, if together we work together, and I like the fact that all the speakers were ambushed, that's what's risk. You're always supposed to be prepared, ready. And the president of FATF once said, criminals have to get it right once, but we, the practitioners, we have to get it right all the time. And I like the fact that we have been given an opportunity to get it right by being called to give your remarks. So from PBRA, I am grateful that we had this opportunity, and I am confident that we will be the compliant, and as Fred said, will be a benchmark. So we have to write our story and share our story, and how we tell our story will actually convince everybody else we really are motivated and we are focused to ensuring that non-profit organization sector in Kenya is not attractive to TF crime and any other related crime. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Benedict. And salams kutoka kwa Kipto Laxmana, doctor, welcomed very well. Asanteni sana. So, we've gotten to the peak of our event today. We are going to launch our strategy for the Kenya National Working Group on FATF 2025-2027. We had a team here in the morning, if you were walking in and saw, they were trying to do something here to decorate. I hope they've done a good job. Wamejaribu sana kuturembeshea hiyo strategy yetu. So now I want to call all the speakers hapa mbele, wale ambao wamezungumza waje wasimame hapa mbele, and then I will now call on behalf of Dr. Laxmana again, Benedict, to unveil our report. We will have some soundtrack from our communications people, and then tutasherekea pamoja. So karibuni sana our speakers and Benedict. So mziki kidogo na Christine. Yes, I need you to guide me on how this will be done, please. Sawa. So, yes. Where is Christine? Sawa. So what we will do now then is to welcome Benedict to just move close to that nini there. You will be handed over by with a pair of scissors. You will be able to cut the ribbon and unveil our strategy. Yes, so yeah, Christine, the scissors. Haya. Communications team, turudishe ngoma yetu. Haya. Muziki. Yes, now you can cut the ribbon. Yes. Haya, makofi jamani. Yeah. Now that the Kenya NPO working group on Financial Action Task Force Strategy 2025-2027. Tupige makofi tena. Itoke kwa TV. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now we can welcome anybody else who wants to join the team hapa. You can pick a strategy here and join the team for a photo. Yes. Yes, there's a copy here. Yeah, so that is the strategy. Please, when you get a copy, interact with it, go through it, get to understand it. Yes, Karibu, Rahma. Yes. Yeah, you can give out. Everybody else will get a copy of the strategy. Asante sana. Asante sana. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. Sawa. So I think we want to shake hands, all of us, eh? Kweli. Okay. Hata mimi itabidi.
can still go down.
Okay. Yes. Tunamalizia pia mimi nipige picha. Nimeambiwa
Pia Fred. Muraya. Yes, 1, 2.
Okay, so thank you very much. We can all have our seat. Everybody will get a copy of this. We have a soft copy also. We'll share online. So as we organize for how we will take our group photo, I want to welcome Kathy from Article 19 to give us a vote of thanks. And then all of us, we will try and squeeze ourselves hapa mbele for a group photo. So karibu Kathy.
Thank you. Good morning again and karibuni sana. I just want to conclude as they arrange the seating plan. I will start with, first and foremost, just thanking God for this opportunity to see a new day, to see a new, hopefully a new dawn to Kenya and civil society engagement. Yes, and partnerships. I also want to thank the CRIPS team and the partners that started this conversation last year and have made us be here today. That just coming together and working together to make this document a reality. I will also thank our partners far and wide who've given their resources, who've given their technical support, who've given effort just to make us move forward in this conversation. It's a revival of a conversation. So being present in the seasons past, but also being present with us now. I would also like to say the speakers, as you mentioned, they were ambushed, and it takes a lot to be present when you're ambushed. I'm reminded of a quote by Oscar Wilde. It says, "The smallest act of kindness is worth more than the greatest of intentions." So that kindness of speaking and being present, whatever engagement, whatever presence and participation. If I may mention the names, there's Mr. Walid Kasim, thank you. There's Mr. Suba Churchill, can't see where he's seated, but thank you. Mr. Victor Kipkoech, Ms. Gatwiri Boroki, my apologies. There's Mr. Mark Owiti. There's also been Mr. Fred Nasubo, Ms. Faith Kasinga, and Ms. Gal Levin. Thank you so much for that polite kindness and just favoring us with your wisdom and your words and your encouragement. I'd like to make a special thank you to the Pibora team, Madam Miss Bernadette Nzomo, and by extension, Dr. Laxmana Kipto. Please pass our regards for the partnership, for the presence, for the willingness. We've seen a lot of engagement, either as individual organizations or also as the working group. So pass our regards, pass our thank you, and we'll definitely be sending appreciation bag in the course of the week, next week. And we will remember the plans for awareness creation, the plans for collaboration, and also balancing oversight versus civic space. So asante sana to the team at Pibora. And lastly, to each and every one of us for being part of this platform, being part of this partnership, that you have been with us, that you have walked the journey, you have given your time, your efforts, and your resources to this conversation. And by extension, also the team that is with us, the media team, the hotel team, and every other service provider. There being no further business, I'll ask our speakers to take a seat, tafadhali, so that we have one group photo. The speakers to take a seat. And And then as many of us as possible to please fill in at the standing at the back. So please, if I've mentioned your name, please fill in the front seat, the front seats. Yes, all of us. You can carry the book, you can come with a smile. There is enough space for all of us. I'm hoping we'll all be represented. There was someone who we have officially closed the program, but if you get a chance, you can pick a final snack outside. So feel free to pick a snack before we close. Thank you.